Hey, welcome. Come home to the Abraham household. Invite him. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about one of my favorite artists, Badri Narayan. Uh, and this particular work, which hangs in our house, is a work from 1991, and it's a work where Maya is showing her multicolored veil to a bunch of religious persona. They look, some look Buddhist, some look, more Hindu, but the beauty about Badri is that his inspiration came from more folk tales than ultra religious tales. And this particular one is beautiful because I love the use of colors. He uses some dark browns and indigo and things like that, and then mixes up with lovely oranges and reds. So beautiful work from 1991. Of course, Badri has since passed. He passed away in 2013. He was truly one of those people who love to create accessibility around his works, and he was a person who loved working with children. He loved doing a lot of work pro bono, and I found him one of those very enduring and appealing personalities in the art world. And of course, Badri was the very, very first work that I collected when I started this journey of collecting modern art. My very first ever acquisition was a Badri, and it was a tiny little painting called Hamsa Jataka, and I acquired it when I was living in Chennai many decades ago from a gallery called Sakshi. I just walked into this gallery and didn't know anybody, and saw all these artworks hanging on the walls. It was a Badri show, and I kind of resonated with the visual appeal and the general theme, which was largely around myth, mythology, India, and folk. So it was a lovely combination of all of that, and the techniques were quite interesting. Of course, the very first work that I acquired, the Hamsa Jataka, was a hatch work in pen and ink, and it was a small work, and it was worth 500 rupees then when I bought it, because that's just about how much I could pay. I used to probably earn a little more than that in a month, so it was a huge dent in my pocket. But so happy that I did, because it set me off on a journey, and here I am today, many decades later, talking about that. So that's lovely. During the decades since, I have had the opportunity to have met Badri a few times, mostly in Mumbai and at Pandol's, the art gallery where I have been working with over the years also. And I found the man incredible in the sense that he was simple, easy to kind of talk to. Though he was personally a bit reticent as a character, a little quiet and shy, but when you got talking, he would talk. And he was a man with a very interesting philosophy. First of all, his work was grounded in India in so many ways. India's color palette, India's mythology, India's stories, folk forms, etc. He would do this kind of work. He would make himself available in schools, work with them, work with children, and do all of that pro bono. It was one of those things which was a rarity in artists of his seniority. I don't think his works ever hit the multi-crore price points, but to me that was one of the charms of collecting Badri's works. They were affordable, they were interesting, they had a fundamental desire to tell stories drawn from the Indian storytelling tradition and the many Indian stories that are there in our mythology, in our folk tales. So that was Badri for me. My advice to young and aspiring collectors is very simple. Uh, there's a little bit of effort involved. You have to first walk around, see. Like if you're in Mumbai, there's Mumbai Art Week. There are now the Mumbai Art Fair, and not one, multiple. There's events around Kala Ghoda, in the NGMA, in CSMVS, in Jahangir Art Gallery. Go to as many as you can. Get familiar with the names, get familiar with the practices of different artists, get familiar with their underlying themes, read about them, research about them. So that's my very first step that I would recommend. Speak to gallerists. That's one thing I always tell people. Very often we get intimidated when we walk into galleries, and that's really something that everyone shares, an apprehension everyone shares. I had it when I was a young rookie walking around, scared even to walk into a gallery because not sure about what happens inside there. Gallerists, on the other hand, feel that people come in, they kind of, walk around gingerly and then quickly leave because they are shy about asking questions, and they are happy to answer questions. People are there in galleries and at shows to answer questions. So ask as many, ask about provenance, ask about technique, ask about the color palette, ask about the underlying story, all of that, and finally, get to things like the price. So don't worry about the price of the artwork at this stage. If you're starting, that should be your last, issue to, deal with. You will find that many of these collectibles, these art forms and these artists are enduring. And, like Badri for me is now, almost a 40-year journey, and I'm never tired. I still collect, in fact, just last week I got one. So it's a fascinating trip. So I guess the issue is, how do you get familiar? So read, invest the time in visiting galleries, seeing shows, ask as many questions as you can, read up on sites like Sarmaya, where you will not only see a lot of these paintings, displayed in our collection section, but you will also, see matter written about them. So you get to a sense of the backstory behind a lot of these works. And then you will slowly find yourself recognizing the genre, recognizing an artist, recognizing the palette, recognizing if this is watercolor, acrylic, oil, etc. And slowly you will find yourself, ready to make that first acquisition and, learn to live with that in your home, in a place that's intimate. And of course, an organization like Sarmaya brings back some of these things into the public domain. Most collectors buy something and it is a private, acquisition, usually only for you and your family and friends to enjoy while it hangs on your walls.